Welcome back to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. An early morning blaze has left a family of 4 homeless. Spokesperson for the St. Lucia Fire Service, Stacey Joseph, explained that officials at the Babonneau Fire Service responded to a call for a house fire in Timon Union at approximately 8 a.m. on Thursday, 18th of March.
Emergency personnel found a wooden structure covered with galvanized roofing, measuring approximately 12 by 20 feet, fully engulfed in flames. The dwelling structure, which was occupied by 4 individuals, was vacant at the time of the fire. The structure and its contents were fully destroyed. No other properties were reported affected or persons reported injured as it relates to this incident.
That was Fire Service spokesperson Stacey Joseph. In other news, one local resort has landed itself in hot water with the Department of Labor after breaking the labor laws governing redundancies and severance pay. Minister for Labor Stephenson King says the business is likely to face penalties and says this should be used as an example not to use COVID-19 as an excuse to contravene labor laws.
Many complaints have been lodged of various employers using COVID-19 as an excuse to infringe on the rights of workers. Labour Minister Stephenson King says the Labour Department has been monitoring such accusations and one resort will pay the price for breaking the labour laws.
We have been monitoring the situation with a clinical eye. We have been able to address a number of concerns. In fact, the most recent one is the Windjammer concern, where Windjammer, I guess without due diligence and probably dereliction of responsibilities, allowed the workers to return to work beyond the layoff period, at which point they had qualified for redundancy. And the union were the ones who made the complaint, and we have gone in and investigated.
According to Section 148 of St. Lucia's labor laws, where an employee has been laid off for a continuous period of at least 12 weeks, such layoff shall be deemed a termination due to redundancy in accordance with this division. During the peak of the COVID period, however, an additional 12 weeks were added to the layoff period, but this has since expired effective September 11, 2020. King says the matter will not be swept under the rug.
We have also been able to deal with them on matters of work permit violations, and there is likely to be a penalty or a decision to make a determination according to the law to penalize them for those violations. So we are handling the Windjammer situation.
He says it will not be accepted from any organization to have the rights of workers infringed upon, nor will it be tolerated for labor laws to be broken. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
The UWP-endorsed candidate for Vieux Fort North, Vincent London, has given a scathing review of his opponent's contribution to the Vieux Fort North constituency. He vows to do better for his constituents if he does in fact win the seat in the upcoming general election. London was in the hot seat on Wednesday night.
Vincent London, the UWP-endorsed candidate for Vieux Fort North, has minced no words when speaking about the level of support that his opponent has given to the constituents of Vieux Fort North over the years. The constituency has been a St. Lucia Labour Party stronghold and in the last 15 years has been represented by Moses Jean-Baptiste. According to London, areas like education and infrastructure have not been attended to under the SLP. He was in the hot seat with Crystal Revere on Wednesday.
When you drive from the DSH, beautiful development or project, and you're going into a community called Grace, it's in a sorry state to see the conditions of the road. And I asked my mother, does she know anything about, because she's grown between Grace and Bellevue, does she know anything about the Grace Road? And she described, my mother has a stroke now, and God bless her soul, but she does not remember that Grace Road being fixed. And I have been going back and forth on that same Grace Road at my age, and I don't see anything significant that has changed about that. That to me is upsetting. That to me is not conducive for a constituency that has so long been loyal to one party.
London says that this shortcoming of the SLP has given him the motivation to do more for the constituents.
Look at the education, look at the scholarship being awarded. How many of our young persons within Vieux Fort North has really benefit from that initiative. I mean, you hear scholarships being given about all the time, but how many of our young people have given the opportunity? If anything, Crystal, you probably can count it on your right hand only. You know, these are things that I see that the people of Vieux Fort North deserve, you know, a better information coming to them. The entrepreneurs, why should a young person always get up from his or her home and go down to Vieux Fort South or come up to Castries to get a job? We have entrepreneurs. We have people who are bright and smart in the community too. So they themselves can be their own employer.
London says that his background has given him ample experience and prepared him to represent the people of Vieux Fort North. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Former Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony had much to say about the man poised to challenge him for the Vieux Fort South seat. Dr. Anthony says the present minister has done a dismal job in ensuring citizen safety and security, despite presenting himself as the man with all the answers to solve the country's crime problem.
When you look at the so-called key program strategies, there could be no greater indictment of a sitting minister than this, and you see why I was interested in it? But it is also a warning to all of you that you better pay attention to these things while in office. The fact is, the public officers in the Ministry of Justice have given their own minister a fail grade for his performance. That's the reality of this. They have judged him and they told him, look, you have failed. And this is the same minister who had all the solutions for crime, whose advice he claims was not heeded by the previous administration. But what is the reality? He has presided over the worst homicide statistics in the island that's not reflected in this. Just look at the last 4 years of the respective administrations. 2013 on the labor, 34 homicides plus 2 police shootings. 2014, 34 homicides plus 3 police shootings. 2015, 29 homicides. 2016, 31 homicides. Total 128 over that period. Entered the United Workers' Party. 2017, 16 homicides. 60. And that is the highest number for any Minister of National Security we have ever appointed in this country. 2018, 43. 2019, 50. And 2020, 55, making a total, I believe, 208 homicides. Too numerous to count. He was not even selected as a candidate, but he asked me if I remember him. My reply, Mr. Speaker, truth is, I remember him very, very well. And I will remember him even better after this general election in May. Thank you.
That was Member of Parliament Dr. Kenny Anthony. In more news, for Catholics, a period of fasting and sacrifice is usually undertaken from Ash Wednesday to Good Friday in preparation for Easter. However, due to COVID-19, a great deal of sacrifice has been demanded from many individuals. So, does one cancel out the other? A local parish priest says the sacrifice and foregoing that is supposed to be done during Lent cannot be compared to what was required during the pandemic.
During Lent, most Christians, especially Catholics, Anglican, and Methodists, are called on to sacrifice and give up small comforts for the liturgical season of Lent, which starts on Ash Wednesday annually. The tradition of the Lenten sacrifice has its roots in Jesus fasting for 40 days in the desert. When Lent is over and Easter Sunday arrives, the faithful are able to indulge in what they sacrificed during the Lenten season. Many Christians observe the Friday fast throughout Lent, sacrificing the eating of meat. But some argue that given the many sacrifices that have been made during COVID, is it really reasonable to call on Christians to make more sacrifices during such challenging times? The assistant parish priest of Soufriere, Father Albert Smith, says the sacrifices due to the COVID-19 were mostly involuntary and cannot be compared to what is being asked of Catholics during the Lenten season.
And there we are called to look at our lives. The things we've been doing, the things probably that needs changing, that needs giving up. You know, one of the scholars said, referred to Lent as a desert experience for the body and springtime for the soul. It's a time where we are called to give up things. Now, looking at Lent in relation to COVID, while we are making sacrifices, we did not choose those sacrifices. So it's not something we entered into voluntarily. It is something that has been imposed on us because of the global pandemic that we are going through. So yes, it is a sacrifice, but it is not a sacrifice that you have chosen to do consciously.
The Catholic priest explains that while most people give up food, it is important to note that there are lessons to learn and virtues that should be sought after during that period.
During Lent, let's look at things in our lives that we need to give up, that we do not want to take back up at the end of Lent. So person would say, oh, I give up eating meat, I give up this, I give up chocolates, I give up KFC, I give up this. But while these may be true, we may refer to it as being important, the more important things during Lent to give up would be the gossiping, the hating, the crying down, the destroying of people's lives, the lack of love for our brothers and sisters. These are the things that we need to give up during Lent so that we may emerge better people at the end of this Lenten period. And these things we endeavor, we try our best not to go back to them at all.
Christians say Lent can be seen as a period to either eradicate evil or cultivate virtue. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Janice Gonzalez.
Veteran journalist Earl Busquet is asking the nation to do their research into the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine before deciding whether to take it or not. Busquet says it is one's own prerogative whether they're for or against the vaccine, but whatever they choose to do, they should be well informed rather than make up their minds based on hearsay. As the debates and controversies surrounding the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine continue to rage on, with people divided over whether they should take the jab or not, veteran journalist Earl Busquet joined the thousands who have opted to be vaccinated by being administered with it on Wednesday. On Thursday, Busquet said the vaccine is a personal choice that one has to think long and hard about. However, he stressed on the importance of people making the decision to take the vaccine or pass on it for themselves. Busquet said the decision should never be forced or made as a result of false information.
Do not treat it as a light matter. Make your decision based on information, on facts, on science, on figures, not on rumors, not on conspiracy theories, not on things you hear about things you've not seen or things people tell you that they cannot prove. Take, for example, the fact that over 17 European countries have banned the AstraZeneca vaccine. There is a reason, which is located in Europe, and that is that the AstraZeneca vaccine has not been proven to be sufficiently effective against the so-called South African variant of COVID-19, which is tearing Europe apart.
With talks and concerns of different variants of COVID-19, Busquet said St. Lucians need to remain focused on the matter right in front of them.
Those concerns are serious and they must not be dismissed, but they are based in Europe. For us to decide whether or not AstraZeneca is safe for St. Lucia has to be based on the extent to which the so-called South African variant is present in St. Lucia. That we do not know. And we ought to have trust in our health authorities and our service providers in the health system who are also at risk. So they will not necessarily hide the presence of the more dangerous variants in order to make the government look good or to make St. Lucia not look bad, because the reality is that if it is here, and we have to do what we have to do to fight it.
Busquet said the 37 cases of blood clots reported worldwide, as opposed to the millions administered successfully, is enough to give him the assurance that he needed.
Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us, we have more news after this break.